welcome back to a brand new video on the channel, guys. So what I have for you guys today is going to be my Championship Week 27 score predictions. So going into this weekend, guys, we've once again got some big games to go ahead and predict, but we could actually have quite a few games that are called off this weekend due to the weather. Of course, as I'm sure all you guys are aware, currently going all the way across the UK, we've got some really bad weather conditions at the moment, and as I am recording this video, there has currently been one game which has been called off this weekend. That is, of course, the game taking place between Sheffield United and Burton Albion. We have got one game which has been called off, and in the build up to this weekend, more of them could be, but we're going to go into this video now, guys, with the knowledge, coming from me that we've got 11 games to go ahead and predict. So if you've not seen this series before, guys, let me explain how it all goes down. So every weekend, I give you guys my Championship score predictions for what I think the results will be with each game going on in the Championship. FIFA 18 also makes their score predictions, but what I'm of course interested to know is what you guys have to say. So in the description down below, I'll leave all the fixtures that are taking place this weekend, and then you guys can easily go ahead and make your predictions. And then if you do successfully manage to get any of your score predictions correct, I will include your comment at the start of the next video. So hopefully by the time that Saturday does come around, the weather conditions have got a little bit better, and we do have a full fixture list pretty much to go ahead and predict in the Championship. So without further ado, guys, let's hop into some of these games. So our first game to go ahead and predict is the Friday night kickoff between Middlesbrough and Leeds United, and quite an interesting one to go ahead and hop into this one, of course. Middlesbrough in their last game went ahead and drew 3-3 with Sunderland in what was a very eventful game. They went ahead and conceded in the last minute. Adama Traore picked up a red card in that game, but since then Traore has had that red card rescinded, which does of course mean that he will be back in time to face Leeds, and realistically that could be a massive plod, for Middlesbrough going into this one. I do get the impression there is a slight over-reliance on the Adama Traore, but even so, a player of his quality is of course going to do damage in a game like this. Coming up against Leeds though, it's going to be no easy feat for them. Leeds recently been under a nice run of form under Paul Heckingbottom. They managed to get their first victory under him last week with that impressive 1-0 victory over Brentford, and with how well the Sogger's doing at the moment going forward, now with Seiss backing behind him, they really could start doing some damage, those two. So for this game, I do get the impression this one is heading towards a draw, so I'm going to go ahead and predict this one to finish as a 1-1. Whereas FIFA's saying it'll be a 0-0. Then our next game sees Aston Villa go up against QPR. Now QPR's last encounter was against Nottingham Forest, and that was just a really bizarre match. They went ahead and lost that by 2-5 in what was just a really baffling game. I can't quite see this one having the same goal amount for there. Aston Villa, of course, wanting to be putting that pressure on Cardiff, who are currently sat at 4 points above them in second. And with Aston Villa, they could have the potential to have a couple of returning players come back into this game, of course. When I'm recording the video, it's not been confirmed, but Jack Grealish and Albert Adoma are approaching coming back into the first team. If they are back for this fixture, that will be a massive benefit for them, Since those two players have been out of the squad, we have seen Aston Villa's form dip a little bit, of course. In their last game, they went ahead and picked up a very impressive 4-2 away victory over Sheffield Wednesday. But the way I see this game going, I think that with Villa's quality in this game, and with QPR's defence looking a little bit shaky at the moment, I'm going to back Aston Villa to go ahead and pick up the 2-1 home victory in this game here today, whereas FIFA's saying it'll be a 1-1. Our next game then sees Barnsley go up against Norwich. Now, of course, Norwich at the moment turning into a bit of a draw merchant. Their last 4 games have all ended as a draw, and in all honesty, I could see this game heading towards a similar pattern, of course. Barnsley recently, they've been managing to pick up their form. It wasn't too long ago since they were actually sat at the bottom of the Championship, and a large part of that has been due to McBurney coming into the side, and just the goals that he's given this Barnsley side have given them another dynamic, really. His finishing ability really has gone on to propel Barnsley up the Championship, and the longer this form continues, the longer Barnsley will continue to reap the rewards from it. And this game, Norwich have been the side so far who tend to struggle breaking down teams. A lot of the Norwich games this season have been fairly low scoring, and I can't see this one going ahead and bursting out with loads of goals. So I'm going to back this one to go ahead and finish as a 1-1 2-1 draw, whereas FIFA's back in 1-0 away victory. The next game is a bit of a local encounter between Bolton Wanderers and my team Preston North End, and honestly, I'm not actually super confident going into this game, of course. Preston's last performance was a really disappointing one, and it wasn't just the fact that we lost to Ipswich, it was the manner in which we did it. You know, we were looking really tired in that game, really jaded, and we probably put in a lot in our previous performances, you know, picking up a point against Wolves and Aston Villa. That has seemed to take its toll on the team. I'm just hoping we'll have recovered properly for this game, because going away to Bolton is not going to be easy, and of course with Preston currently drawing the most games in the Championship with 15, going away to Bolton where they like to sit in quite deep and then catch a goal either from a set piece or on the counter-attack, I can't see too many goals being scored in this one either. Ultimately, if Preston do want to be going ahead and making it into the top 6 this season, we need to start breaking down teams who are at the lower parts of the table. And of course, Bolton, this game's just got a draw written all over it, but my head says one thing, my heart says another. I'm gonna back a very slim 1-0 away victory for Preston, whereas FIFA's saying it will also be 1-0. The next game has all the ingredients really to go ahead and be the game of the weekend. This is the one which I'm really most looking forward to. That's Brentford go up against Cardiff. Now, of course, Cardiff currently sat in 2nd place in the Championship, of course. They've got Aston Villa, who are still looking to leapfrog them in the Championship, but realistically, Cardiff could be looking forward. You know, they're only 6 points behind the league leaders, Wolves, and with them having a bit of a stumble in their season at the moment, Cardiff really do have the potential to carry on making up some ground on them, of course. Going away to Brentford, though, it's not going to be easy. Brentford, in their last home game, managed to go ahead and put 5 goals past. With the way that Brentford like to attack, this could be a really good dynamic, of course. Cardiff so far this season had one of the best defences in the Championship, and this game could take a similar pattern actually to when Cardiff went up against Bristol City. Of course, Bristol City and Brentford like to play similar football, but what Cardiff are very good at doing, and they've been so good at doing for the majority of this season, is limiting football sides of how they like to play. Of course, they did it when they played Wolves, they did it when they played Bristol City, and going up against a side like Brentford, Neil Warnock just seems to know what to do against these sort of teams to limit them and stop them from pressing into the space. So for this game, I think it's going to be a Neil Warnock masterclass. I'm going to go ahead and back a 2-1 away victory for Cardiff, whereas FIFA's saying it'll be 1-1. Our next game then sees Bristol City go up against Sheffield Wednesday, and of course, with the Sheffield United game postponed for this weekend, this is a big opportunity for Bristol City to put a statement down and get back into the top 6. And it's not going to be an easy game against Sheffield Wednesday, although one advantage that Bristol City could have is that Sheffield Wednesday were of course playing in midweek in that game they had in the FA Cup against Swansea City, so we may see a couple of Sheffield Wednesday players a bit jaded for this game going into it, and Bristol City, they just need to get back to form really. You know, over the last probably month or two, all in all, the performances have just really seemed to reach a bit of a lull, and it is imperative that Bristol City first of all pick up their home form. You know, going forward, they need to get that spark back, which they've just been seeming to lack over the last few weeks, and defensively as well, those individual errors which they've been making just need to be eradicated from their game. And in a game like this against Sheffield Wednesday, I do think that Bristol City could actually get back to winning ways in this one. I mean, we've seen Wednesday so far this season have a couple of dodgy defensive displays, so if Bristol City do get back to hitting form, Sheffield Wednesday could be on the receiving end of that. So for this game, I'm going to back a 2-1 home victory for Bristol City, although I'm not really too confident in saying that, and then FIFA's going to back 1-0 Wednesday. The next game sees Derby County go up against Fulham, so we've got 4th in the Championship going up against 5th in what could be a really lively encounter, and of course Fulham really putting down a statement in their last game as they managed to go ahead and take down Wolves by 2-0 in what was a very convincing performance. And Derby, quite recently, they've let their standards slip, you know, a little bit as well. Their form has seemed to be tailing off recently, of course. In their last game, went ahead and drew 3-3 with Reading. Some of the defending in that game was very questionable and not something you normally would associate with a Gary Rowett side who, you know, you expect to be quite a resilient team. And going up against this Fulham side, if that Derby defence isn't back to its full fitness, Fulham are going to absolutely take advantage of them. You know, with the form at the moment of Ryan Sessegnon and Mitrovic going forward especially, Fulham really could have a field day if Derby aren't tight at the back. So for this game, I'm going to back a 3-1 away victory, whereas FIFA's back in a 0-0 draw. The next game sees sees Ipswich Town go up against Hull City. So of course at the moment it is imperative that Hull City just keep on picking up these points to keep themselves above the dotted line. And currently of course they're currently sat in 20th in the Championship, and over the last few games they put in a couple of decent performances of course. That game they had last Friday against Sheffield United was a very valiant one, which of course earned them the 1-0 victory, and that point they managed to gain in midweek with the draw against Barnsley as well. Ipswich are a side which I struggle to work out really of course. Their last performance, in fairness to them, was a really professional one, you know. They absolutely ripped us apart in the first half, and then they managed to hold on to it with the 1-0 away victory over Preston. And Ipswich, they do have a tendency to play quite a rigid style, so I do see this one heading towards a draw actually. So I'm going to back this one to finish as a 1-1 draw, and FIFA's going to say it'll be a 0-0. Then we see Millwall go up against Sunderland. Now this could be a huge point in Sunderland's season of course. Currently they're located at the bottom of the Championship, 5 points from safety, and of course in their last game we saw them go ahead and get back into the game with a 3-3 draw against Middlesbrough, scoring a last minute equaliser in that one. And quite a few times this season we've seen from Sunderland then put in a really spirited performance one week to get back into a game, and then the next week their levels just completely plummet again. This can't happen in this game, even if it's just a performance to give the Sunderland fans some hope that there is potential for them to be doing something going forward in the remaining games of this season. At least it'll be that, but going away to Millwall is not the sort of game they want to be going to at this point in time. Millwall at home now are unbeaten in their last 11 games in the Championship, and with just the current unbeaten run that Millwall are on in general, this is going to be a really tough game for Sunderland. And of course, with Millwall liking to be that quite direct physical side, Sunderland, they need to be standing up to this game, and we can't have any players that are going to be hiding for this one. So for this one, I'm just got to fancy the home side for this one. So I'm going to go ahead and back a 2-0 home victory for Millwall, whereas FIFA's saying it'll be a 0-0 draw. Then our next game sees Nottingham Forest go up against Birmingham. Now the rumours around Birmingham continue to go around of course that Steve Cottrell will be losing his job sooner rather than later, and currently the favourite to replace him is actually Gary Monk. So I'll be interested to hear from some Birmingham fans on basically what you think of all the speculation going around the club at the moment. Of course, going up against Nottingham Forest though, not going to be an easy tie with how well Forest managed to do in their last game, putting 5 goals past QPR, and realistically, since Lee Tomlin's come into the side, he really does seem to be that cog which has just got them turning in the right direction since Aita Karanka has come into the job. He scored 2 fantastic goals in their last outing, and against Birmingham at the moment, with their defence looking very shaky and going forward having that lack of goals so far this season and just that lack of creativity in general, it's not going to be an easy game. So for this one, I've got to fancy a home victory, and if Birmingham can pull something out of the bag for this one, they may have hope going for the rest of the season, but I just got that gut feeling it's going to be a 2-0 Forest victory for this one. So I'll say 2-0, FIFA's backing a 0-0 draw. And then our last game to go ahead and predict sees Wolves go up against Reading, and Reading aside this season who continue to baffle me really. They are a really funny side to go ahead and predict of course. At the weekend they picked up that 3-3 draw with Derby County, and then in midweek they went ahead and lost 3-1 to Sheffield United. So defensively Reading have looked really shaky lately, and so realistically this could be the perfect game for Wolves and their attacking trio to just get back to full form really of course, with going up against a defence who doesn't really back themselves and doesn't seem to have a lot of confidence at the moment. This could be the game where we see Wolves go ahead and retain, you know, that they are the best side in the Championship. And so they are still without Ruben Neves of course. He is still suspended for this game, so in some ways that will limit their attacking options, but even so you've got to be fancying the home side for this one. So going into this game, I am going to fancy Wolves to go ahead and pick up a 3-1 home victory against Reading, whereas FIFA's saying it'll be another 0-0. So guys, there you have it. There are my Championship score predictions for what I think will happen in all the games this weekend. So like I said at the start of the video guys, hopefully all of these games do go ahead and go on this weekend. Of course, we've got some really bad weather going on at the moment, as of course the Sheffield United against Burton game has already been postponed. But guys, if you did go on to enjoy the video, make sure you leave a like. It is always massively appreciated. Make sure you get all your score predictions in the comments down below, and make sure you do subscribe for some regular Championship content. But apart from that guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.